Hello everyone. Our lesson today will be discussing the past perfect. We're going to talk about how to form the past perfect and when to use it. The form of the past perfect. The past perfect is formed by combining the auxiliary verb had with the past participle. Had plus the past participle. Examples: you had studied English before you moved to New York. Example number 2. Had you studied English before you moved to New York? As you can see here, we used had plus the past participle, also informing a question. Because the past perfect is a compound tense, which means that we need to use a verb and the auxiliary verb, we need to use the auxiliary verb had plus the past participle. I had studied. The main verb here is the verb studied, and had is the auxiliary verb. He had written a letter to Maria. The main verb here is written, and the auxiliary verb is had. We have different forms for the past perfect. The first form is in the positive form. Example: I had finished. If we want to change it into the negative form, it would be I had not finished. As you can see here, all we have to do is simply add not to the auxiliary verb had. You had finished. The negative form is you hadn't finished. We had finished. We had not finished. They had finished. The negative form here is they had not finished. Another form of the past perfect is with questions. Examples: had I finished? Had you finished? Had we finished? Had they finished? Had he finished? Had she finished? And had it finished? As we all know, we can use the past perfect in different ways and for different usages. The first one is to talk about completed action before something in the past. The past perfect expresses the idea that something occurred before another action in the past. It can also show that something happened before a specific time in the past. Here are some examples to show this point. Example number 1. Before the students started to write, the teacher had collected their mobile phones. In this sentence, we can notice that 2 actions happened in the past, but one action happened earlier than the other one. In this sentence, the teacher collected the mobile phones and then the students started to write. As you notice, the past perfect was used to talk about the earlier event. Example number 2. After we had eaten the cornflakes, Hannah came in. In this sentence, first we ate the cornflakes, then Hannah came in. So we used the past perfect to describe the earlier event. Usage number 2. We use the past perfect to talk about duration before something in the past with non-continuous verbs. We use the past perfect to show that something started in the past and continued up until another action also in the past. Examples: we had had that car for 10 years before it broke down. Example number 2. By the time Ahmed finished his studies, he had been in London for over 8 years. You need to remember that with the specific times with the past perfect, unlike the present perfect, it is possible to use specific time words or phrases with the past perfect. Although this is possible, it is usually not necessary. Example: she had visited her Japanese relatives once in 1993 before she moved in with them in 1996. Another usage with the past perfect is with active and passive sentences. George had repaired many cars before he received his mechanic's license. This is an active sentence. If you want to change it into passive, it becomes many cars had been repaired by George before he received his mechanic's license. Another usage for the past perfect is in conditional sentences. Here, of course, we use it with type 3, which is condition that was not given in the past. Example: if I had seen him, I would have talked to him. This sentence means that I haven't seen him in the past and I haven't talked to him. So both of them happened in the past, but the condition was not given in the past. With the past perfect, there are some signal words or clues that we might use, such as already, just, never, not yet, once, until that day, before, and after, with reference to the past and not to the present. Examples: Rashid had lived in London before he moved to Rome. The signal word in this sentence is before. This sentence means that both actions, both events happened in the past, which is living in London and moving to Rome. But one event happened before. That's why we used the past perfect with it. Example number 2. When she arrived, the match had already started. The signal word here is already. Please note that the earlier past events or situations are indicated by the past perfect tense. The past simple tense and the past perfect tense are often used in the same sentence. Example: several employees had left the company before the new manager arrived. In this sentence, as you can notice, two events took place in the past. One of them happened earlier than the other one, and this can be shown on a timeline. Employees had left. This happened in the earlier past. New manager arrived. This was more recent past. Both events were in the past, but one occurred earlier than the other. To help you understand using and forming the past perfect more, we have some examples. First, we ate at the cafeteria. Then we went to the classroom. In this sentence, as you can see, two verbs, two events happened in the past. One is eating in the cafeteria, and the other is going to class. After we had eaten at the cafeteria, we went to the classroom. The two verbs, which is eating and going to the classroom, took place in the past. But because eating in the cafeteria took place earlier in the past, that's why we use the past perfect with it. Example number 2. First, Jamal made himself a sandwich. Then he poured some tea. After Jamal had made himself a sandwich, he poured some tea. The third example. First, Sarah fed the cat. Then she called her mother. Sarah called her mother after she had fed the cat. In this sentence, two events took place in the past. Sarah feeding the cat and calling her mother. As you can see, we use the past perfect to talk about the verb or the event that happened earlier, which is feeding the cat. Our last example is, first, Fatima did her homework. Then she watched TV. We say, Fatima had done her homework before she watched TV. Doing the homework and watching TV both happened in the past, but one of them happened or occurred earlier than the other, which is doing the homework. That's why we used the past perfect with it. That was our lesson for today. I hope you enjoyed it and found it useful and interesting. Wish you all the best and good luck.